Happy to have you all. We have our panel members joining. Come on, a bit of round of applause. Let's go on. Yeah, woo! Yeah, we got it. Wow, it is cold in here. All right, perfect. Let's open the stage. The idea here is to have a bit more of like a kind of informal talk and talk about, I think, a very hot subject and refrain from, we want to go more than community. It's great, it's important. We want to, I think, drill down to the nuts and bolts. Let's take 2 minutes to just each person, if they can really shortly present themselves and what they do, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, I guess we can just go down the line. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Choi. I'm the Business Development Manager at Com2uS USA. Com2uS, we're a mobile gaming developer publisher based out of Seoul, South Korea. We were established back in 1998. We had a hit title called Summoner's War, which released in 2014. Through the success of that game, we've been able to really grow our corporation. We have a pretty diverse investment portfolio ranging from entertainment and Web3, and that's how we started getting into the Web3 space. Earlier this year, we released a blockchain gaming platform called C2X, and now we're working on our own mainnet called Explo.
Very cool.
What's going on, guys? My name is Bryson. I am a Web3 gaming content creator, Twitch streamer, entrepreneur, CEO of a venture-funded startup called Loot Bolt. And yeah, it's cool to be here talking about what's happening in Web3. I know we're in a bear market, so we're a little light on people in the audience, but the fact that you're here is a blessing because ultimately I see us as leading the next generation of games.
Hey, Jeff Donnelly. I'm the OG on the stage. So 25 years I've been marketing for gaming companies. I've gone through 2 other bear markets, so we will make it through this. At least the strong will survive. So I represent MegaFans. MegaFans is an esports tournament platform. We integrate esports tournament systems into other games to monetize them, and happy to be here today.
All right, cool. My name is Itai. I'm from Market Across. We are a Tel Aviv, Israel-based PR and content marketing firm. We work with some of the bigger players in the space. You can check it out online, or we have a booth as well. All right, cool. So let's start with very general, but not an easy question. What is Web3 gaming? How do you define that? But like for real, like actually something that my mom can understand. Not what is Web3, but what is Web3 gaming as opposed to Web2 gaming. So we'll just start the conversation and then take from there.
Yeah, so I guess when I think about Web3 gaming, I think about like what the distinction is between Web2 and Web3 currently, and I guess that really just comes down to the addition of blockchain features, being able to use blockchain to, add ownership elements and giving players the ability to kind of earn off of the effort that they put into the game. And yeah, I guess that's...
So the main thing is blockchain is the way to do it, but because we use blockchain, then we have assets that are actually owned by players. That is your core definition of Web3 gaming, the ownership of key assets and not the
Yeah,
platform.
exactly.
All right, cool.
Web3 introduces new digital assets. Gamers have been using digital assets for decades, since the 1990s. And trading them. Back in the day, they used to actually resell digital assets on eBay. So now we've introduced cryptocurrency, NFTs, and whatever's coming next. So that's the primary difference. But then you've got blockchain, which also gives it transparency. You can see transactions. It's open ledger. The original premise of the blockchain, I think, is an important factor as well to support that system and the infrastructure.
Yeah, like to your point about buying assets on eBay, I was the one kid back in like 2005 where I would take my parents' credit card and buy like Madden Ultimate Team characters and a bunch of shit I probably had no business buying, like on the blockchain, or it wasn't blockchain back then. But ultimately, there wasn't really asset ownership. I mean, I grew up, you purchase skin after skin and game after game. I mean, I probably bought Madden for 10 years before I realized, oh wow, that $1,000 a year subscription to Madden really isn't worth it. You need to go out and like play something else. But no, I mean, ultimately, where we are in this like Web3 gaming ecosystem, of course, we talk about the whole idea of ownership and the blockchain being super prevalent, but ultimately, it's just gaming with the ability to have ownership rights, but ultimately those ownership rights have come at a cost the first year and a half of this. I mean, I'd love to get your thoughts. You've seen probably a ton of what the gaming world has brought in the last year and a half.
Oh, I think with ownership comes community, right? Because now you're trading something, right? And so if you just go back to sort of the primal human, needs for building community, for being recognized, trading's been a part since the beginning of time. So it really allows us to sort of sit around the gaming campfire, so to speak, and do what people do.
But that also creates a challenge. I like the conversation already. And I think this touches community in general. Everyone loves to use that word, but sometimes I always say your community is as good as your floor price. And then the issue that Web2 companies don't have is I could be an avid Netflix user and love it, and the fact that the stock went down X%, I'm oblivious to it. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't hurt me. And that creates a situation where our community and our members are also asset holders of our own, I would say, financial asset. And that, when it works, it's great. But when it doesn't work, that can be a very big detrimental concept.
Unfortunately, because it's, all eyes are on us, right? So people are hypersensitive to what's happening in this. Like you said, when you're using another company's product or service and something happens to their
the users of Gmail don't care about Alphabet's stock price.
Nobody cares. But with us, it's like, oh my gosh, watch this, it's going to devastate the whole industry. So I think it's just because it's early, because we're building, we're innovating. This room, this panel, we're just innovators, right? And because of that, it's all eyes on us. And so there's going to be a little bit more sensitivity around it, but we're all going to build through this. And again, the strong will survive.
All right, perfect. Oh, yeah, sorry, you want to touch that?
I was going to say, I think that's kind of one of the things that we've seen in Web3 gaming up to this date, where I think people who are coming into Web3 gaming have kind of the wrong approach, maybe the wrong mindset. I think the thing is, a lot of the success of games like Axie Infinity, NBA Top Shot, a lot of it has been kind of around the ability to make money, whereas it hasn't been about, do I really enjoy playing this game? Is this game fun? Do I want to continue to play the game? And if that was like the focus, then they wouldn't be as worried about.
This is great. It's a great setup for the next question. So you touched Axie Infinity and different models or whatever. So it seems like Play2Earn, which was the Axie Infinity model, which is the concept of you playing a certain game and that revenue being a substantial amount of revenue in your life, was, I think, the first kind of boom of, or I'm not saying the first iteration, but the first successful iteration of Play2Earn gaming with the concept of migrant workers, usually in Southeast Asia, etc. That model does have some problems, but we're seeing it evolving. What are the other models? Is Play2Earn the base of it all? Is it actually now more like Play and Earn? You talked about two different models, like two different even demographics. Top Shop is, I think, mostly Western people trying to make a few more bucks for spending, and where the Axies were thinking about, oh, this is a cool way for a set migrant worker to make his rent. So what are the different models? Is there one's going to win? They're all going to win? What do you think?
So yeah, I guess our company's thesis is that we follow more of a free-to-play and earn model. So basically, all of our games, you can download them through the App Store, through Google Play. When players come into the game, it's really, at its core, basically just a Web2 game. They don't really know that there's anything different. And then as they progress in the game, eventually they'll reach a point where it goes, hey, actually through this entire playtime, you've been earning this additional currency. Would you now like to,
open a wallet?
Open a wallet, gain access to your assets, et cetera, et cetera. And for some people, it might not be their cup of tea. They don't need to do that right away. They can, continue to play, enjoy, and just continue as is.
And that's going to touch a different question, but you're saying that there's an option of Web2 and Web3 gaming living on the same platform. X users can live their whole Web2 world, and then the power users can opt in to enjoy a different environment.
Exactly.
I feel like, though, ultimately people won't want to live in a separate segregated Web2 or Web3 situation. I think that when we look at what Play2Earn was, and it's ironic because I'm on the stage because my initial rise through the Axie Infinity days and then expanding over Web3 gaming, but Play2Earn really fucked gaming up. It made gaming way worse than what people fail to realize, because when people think of gaming in Web3, they don't think of oh man, Star Atlas is one of the most anticipated Web3 games, or Illuvium has this really cool overworld ecosystem that's coming out. They think of, oh, Axie Infinity got hacked for 600 million, and all these people were making this money doing this Play2Earn scam, and oftentimes people fail to realize that connotation that someone has who has no idea what the space is what shapes the narrative of the space. So
there's a famous tweet of someone saying, I bought into STEPN 3 weeks ago. Now I need to walk 6 hours a day for 10 years to get my money back.
Yeah, but I mean, to that point, what was the, STEPN's a damn running app. It shouldn't matter, if you made any money running or not. You should get your lazy ass out there and run because it's good for you, But that, goes by the wayside when people
their marketing. Oh my God, that should be their micro copy. Get out for lazy ass.
So look, obviously the first iteration of P2E was flawed, right? It wasn't built to survive a bear market. We saw what happened. And people's lives got devastated. those guilds are being supported by people from a very lower economic system, and they were surviving on that. So this affected.
We do need to be honest, it's not just mirror market. There was a Ponzi economics base of almost
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So flawed. But traditional gaming, we use esports. Esports is a traditional Web2, actually Web 1 version of gaming, right? Tried, true, and proven. It works. So you can apply those functions and those types of products and services to the Web3 market, and they'll still work here too. It's just a different community. And people are collectors, so when it comes to the digital assets, humans also like to collect things. So that's just something that's innate, right? And will survive within the gaming.
Segue question. On your end, you're seeing most of the people that interact with set platforms or protocols or games, are they collectors of potential land and swords or whatever, or are they actual players? Because I think that's one of the major issues that happened that a bit after Axie, and these whole notions of guilds and whatever. And what we did is started creating another mid-level of speculators of digital assets and not the game. So that was a big issue.
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, like if we really like dive deep on the idea of like land and renting out land, like the whole idea is pretty flawed at the the base level. I mean, I personally don't want to be a sharecropper. Yeah, of course, maybe someone in a developing nation for a short amount of time. It works because the returns are more than previously stated, like higher than what they would have made. But ultimately, like that model isn't a model that's sustainable because we as people don't want to rent assets. The whole idea of Web3 and blockchain is you own your assets, and maybe it's like a rent-to-own model or something. I've heard a ton of like.
It also creates financial issues that some people would be paying USDC for these assets, but earning in set game currency, and those creates those arbitrages that can get a lot of people wrecked. So you might be paying set person a agreed fee for that sword or house or whatever, but the native token you're earning in goes down immensely. So I agree with you that the mid-ownership level was not the best maybe iteration, and I do think that now we're going more towards experiences and less about financial, like.
At the end of the day, you take any collective group of people and you're going to have different segments, right, that behave differently and have different needs and wants and different reasons, right, to answer the why. So it's going to cover the whole spectrum. And
blockchain offers a lot of technology, but we're still people. People are people.
But ultimately, what comes out the other end is it's got to go through a natural course, and that's what we're seeing right now.
So there's a general concept that I would say the current iteration of blockchain gaming or Web3 gaming kind of suck. Like that's kind of the going notion there. Is that the question is that a bug or a feature? Is this because we did very simple mobile games right now? And again, some of the biggest games in history, Flappy Bird, for whatever, some games suck by definition, and they still do very well. So what are your thoughts about that? Because I can tell you that most of my real gamer friends said, look, I can't take this seriously before there's a game I might actually want to play without any of these assets connected to it.
It's early, right? This is still new. If you go back 20, 30 years, again, OG on stage here, I've seen what the earlier games looked like. They were crap compared to what you see today.
Yeah,
and all the games
Pac-Man isn't the most elaborate gameplay.
Yeah, this is a natural evolution, right? And so we're just at the very beginning of this particular part of that.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, I want to basically 100% agree with what he's saying. And if you think about a AAA title as we know it, the development cycle for a AAA title is generally 5 years. Minimum.
And tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. And then
these whole raised $4 million from 6 crypto VCs to develop a AAA game. Whoever reads those titles needs to understand that that's flawed by its definition of how AAA gaming works.
Exactly. And then, obviously, these AAA studios have thousands of employees who are just working around the clock, trying to meet deadlines, trying to make sure they, get everything in order. And, the reality is a lot of these games that have come from the Web3 side of things so far have been, from startups, smaller companies. But now we're seeing some of these bigger players really start entering the space. So I think in the next, 3 to 5 years, because, I think a lot of these games that will be coming from these studios already have been in development for 3-4 years. And now they're just adding that blockchain Web3
So interesting.
layer.
You're saying that the games that were invented or by blockchain people that wanted to look into gaming look like that, and now that we have the gaming companies who are maybe interested in blockchain looking at that, they might bring in, I would say, the higher quality of, because that's their job, that's what they do.
I mean, I'm not trying to downplay anyone who's created games.
There's no names being mentioned.
Yeah,
Talk about.
But I think definitely when you consider that some of these larger studios have, a history of, deploying very successful titles, that experience, that know-how, bringing that into this space is really going to be
cool. I love that.
Really pushing us.
And it's also a thing of, I think we see what's happening with Unreal Engine 5 and everyone sees these insane ass graphics. And a lot of times they're like, oh my God, this game's gonna be, like, this is a game, this is gonna be insane. It's like, that's just like people creating experiences of people moving around and doing shit. Creating an actual fun game loop is ridiculous. I mean, I chatted with one of the metaverse leads at Fortnite. They know they can't make another Fortnite. So that's why they came out with Fortnite Creative.
Yeah. I've been driving around, I've been like Ubering in Miami, and I feel like I'm in, GTA Vice. I'm like, when am I getting out of the car with a baseball bat, All right, cool. So let's talk macro crypto for a second. It was an interesting year. A lot of things happened. A lot of the things that we thought, like some of the biggest blue chip players in the space are no longer even here. You can drive by FTX Arena. That's a nice, surreal experience. Some are saying that GameFi is maybe the golden ticket right now. That is like the one that, other than the Axis.
Goblin Town.
Yeah,
Goblin Town. It's dead. It's
What?
dead. GameFi's dead.
GameFi's dead?
Yeah, GameFi is dead.
All right. Why's that?
It's dead because you're taking finance and putting it at the forefront of gaming and trying to deceive people into believing that putting a financial mechanism with a gaming UI in the front is going to be the end-all be-all. I see it as synonymous with the whole V1 or version 1 of Play2Earn, because I know we talked about the whole, there's a second layer of version that could happen, but for the concepts of what GameFi stand on, it's not going to work. There are tons of games that'll reach out and talk about the whole idea of we have burn mechanics and a white paper and tokenomics.
So
all that shit's
Web3
lame.
gaming and GameFi are separate for you. There is the gaming aspect, and then there's the financial models aspect of it. And you're saying, let's do more Web3 gaming, and let's do less
I agree.
GameFi.
I agree with Bryce on what you just said. Web3 gaming. It's just gaming, okay? And it happens to be using Web3 mechanics, but gamers are going to game, so that's it.
And to your point about like these financial models, there's always been financial models in games, and I think there should be an ecosystem of infrastructure when these games launch. But ultimately, the communities are what drives prices and markets. The problem is you've seen games tweet about, oh, this NFT that we're launching is going to be a collectible, like a Pokemon or something. And it's like, dude, Pokemon's been around for 30, 40 years. I was playing it when I was 5. I'm still playing it, and I'm 27. That collectability of a Pokemon card didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen because a founder of Pokemon said, oh, this is collectible. It's like describe value over time, and that's what's missing in Web3 gaming, because to your point, we're really early.
But let me add to that. So gamers are going to game, and if they can earn something, great. Whatever label the market puts on it, P2E or whatever,
And then
who cares?
So
They're
we're seeing
going to
that,
game
but then
if
we're seeing the platform say, all right, you have this NFT. How about stake it? How about do derivatives of it? How about do fractionalize of it? So maybe that's the bad ideas that we're taking from the DeFi players or CeFi players or whatever, and we're trying to, now that we have you here and you have a financial relationship with us, let's try and bring all the shit that didn't work in different places.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I also do agree, but I also disagree in a sense, because I think obviously the term GameFi as it is, we are only kind of experiencing what the current iteration is, and that word and what it kind of stands for can always evolve. And I think as Web3 gaming evolves, I think the definition and behind GameFi will also evolve with it.
So how do you think that Web3 gaming can grow with a much growing negative sentiment around blockchain and crypto in general, in the general public? So let's say there is a situation that we're going towards a rough 2023 when it comes to public sentiment. How do we make sure that this part of Web3 isn't too much affected or can break the trend?
I have a theory on this. So build better games, okay, and make it seamless, right? Make the experience seamless. It's experiential. People play games to escape, and then to win and join a community and all these other things that come with it. But it's an escape mechanism. It's entertainment. Yep. At the end of the day, we're in the entertainment industry. It's a $2.2 trillion global industry that we're part of, and it happens to be
mobile gaming is larger than all of crypto combined, almost 1.5 or 2 times.
It's the fastest growing sector in the entire global entertainment industry.
Yep.
Okay, but people are doing it because they want to play games. If they can win something and gain something out of it, great. If it's a collectible, even better. These are all innate human needs that people like to meet that are part of the community. So,
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, yeah, I think the focus is definitely going to be on the games itself. As long as the experience is good, as long as you're having fun, people are going to come. Gamers don't care if it's Web 2 or it's Web 3. If they can go and have a good time, they'll come. And as he said, I think making that experience as seamless as possible, I think ultimately, gamers don't need to know what's under the hood per se. Yep. They don't need to know that there's blockchain there. They don't need to know that there's NFTs there. They just want to know, is this a game where I'm going to come in and have fun? And if so, and can I potentially have an extra benefit? Great. If not, whatever. I'm just here to have fun. I'm just here to play a game.
And in terms of that whole point around mobile gaming, it's crazy. So for example, I went home a couple of weeks ago. My mother played poker on her phone for 4 hours. Then my parents divorced, so I go visit my dad. He lives in Richmond, and he tells me, yeah, I'm the second best table pool player on this fucking random mobile game I've never heard of. And he says yeah, I play 3 to 4 hours a day. I'm like, anyone could pick up any of these games, and it could be a Web3 game, and they might not even know it because it's not, the term Web3 gaming isn't going to outweigh genres of gaming that have their own specific niches, like MMO or card games. That is where these games are going to sit, and ultimately creating
it's like saying a cloud,
easy mechanisms
we want to be
how
like
we
where
get there.
cloud is. We use cloud-based technology all the time. We don't know that it's a cloud-based technology. It's just on the cloud.
So Web3 in the cloud gives us the opportunity to take gaming to the global market, right? To emerging markets, to developing markets. So that's a huge opportunity. We can use this as a beachhead to bring the rest of the world online and use it as you said, it's it's a great bridge, right? And it could bring in the masses. This could literally bring the entire planet that's going to come online. It can be their point of entry.
So I don't remember who it was who said this. It might be CZ or Brian Armstrong. Someone smarter than me said that one of the things that we all failed as an industry in the past year is that we tried to onboard 1 billion users a bit too fast. What are your thoughts about that? Is it okay for us to go and tell people, hey guys, we're building. Things take years. These assets, whatever. Have we too fast to, first of all, fundraise a lot of money from wide-ass people and then give them assets that they're invested in? But also, are we trying too fast to onboard 1 billion people?
So those kinds of claims, I dismiss, okay?
Yep.
I look at the macro.
That's a good conversation. I like it.
Okay, I look at the macro, we call it the macroeconomics, but the macro truth is that by 2025, 82% of all internet access is going to be done through a mobile device, and that approximately half of the world will be online. We hit 8 billion in population, 2 weeks ago? Approximately 4 billion people are going to be online. 82% of them are going to use one of these supercomputers in their hands to go onto the internet, to experience that. So that's the natural macro view, and those are the real numbers. So claiming that we're going to bring on the next billion or whatever number that people want to pluck out of the sky, that's great for a soundbite, but let's just look at reality. That's reality.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, I think that ultimately you shouldn't stop trying to bring in users just because tech is early and things of that sort, because ultimately you need more people with more various diverse backgrounds that can provide feedback to games, whether it's Web 2, Web 3, you need people in general. So I think you should go out and market the same way you would if your game was doing 100 million daily active or a monthly active.
Most of these games have more NFT holders than active players, like substantially more.
Well, most of the NFT holders aren't players, actually.
Yeah, of course, of course. I think that another thing I also want to touch on, I think it's really directed to you guys. So it seems like all paths go through app stores. Apple App Store, Google App Store, whatever. There is a framework on how you can have your product on it. And again, I'm not going to go into specifics, but it's don't do an NFT drop before you actually have a game. But that's something else. Are we all contingent on Apple and Google liking us and letting us participate, and then also maybe doing user acquisition or whatever? Or is there a chance that games or the game Web3 industry can live and develop itself without being subjected to being under Google and Apple's direct
beholden?
Yeah.
I think it's the appropriate word.
What are your thoughts about that?
Major players are going to be there, so it's part of the ecosystem. But there's plenty
bigger
of
things in Web3, like you talked about, like some of the biggest Web2 games, whatever. Like they're not able to beat Google and Apple. They want to do their own internal currencies.
No, but I think there's enough room for all players to play, right? For all innovators and developers to be part of it. So there's going to be an indie sector. There's going to be the major brands. and remember, the bigger they are, the less nimble they are as well. So they can't go into a lot of the markets that we're entering, right? These developing markets, these emerging markets. They want access to that. They'll use us to get that, right? So those big brands, the Microsofts and the Googles, you know, they'll use us.
Build more channels. It's not let's do everything we can to get into Google and Apple app stores. It's also build our own app stores.
Sorry, say that again.
Should we all optimize on how we build Web3 games so they'll be able to be inside an Apple or Google app store, or should we focus on creating distribution channels that don't involve us being contingent on Google and Apple letting us participate?
So I guess coming from traditionally mobile gaming, I would say that obviously Google and Apple gave a lot of smaller studios a great distribution channel to really reach a wider audience. I think specifically, Com2Us being a Korean mobile gaming developer publisher, if it wasn't for Apple and Google, people in America, people in Europe may have never heard of us, may have never played our game. Summoner's War became a global hit thanks to that distribution channel, and I think it is kind of having that great distribution channel will really help the industry grow and really help people become more exposed to it. I'm not saying that we need to be fully reliant on Google and Apple Play, but I think they've set up a system which is a great distribution channel and really for...
So we should optimize but not be too dependent and also think about different channels.
It's a symbiotic relationship. They need us and we need them. And it's not just about Apple and Google. There's some other very large distribution channels. Huawei, Samsung.
We have an avid Twitch user. The question is like, if tomorrow X platform, streaming platform A or B does like or doesn't like, there's a lot of gatekeepers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that although Apple takes 30%, if I was building a mobile game, I would put it on the Apple App Store and then get on Facebook and run probably twice as much as I spend in development time and development cost of the game in advertisement, and chance the fact that I'm going to be able to make that money back through one of those traditional platforms. Love to get your thoughts on that.
Like I said, it's a symbiotic relationship. They need us and we need them. So they have the distribution channel. They have the eyeballs and the ears. So we need that. Okay, but they also need us. They need the innovators. So.
All right, let's use our last 2.5 minutes for shout-outs. Please, everyone, if you have an opportunity to tell the people about something cool you think that's happening in the industry, you guys can be involved in it, but please not your actual direct company or whatever.
Something besides us. I'm going to give a shout-out to Ukinga, which is a new game coming from Crow Studios. It's an exciting battle arena tower defense game, and we happen to be integrating our esports tournament system in there. But we're going to market now. It's actually posted on mainnet, and we're on PC first, but we're moving to mobile in about a month.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I guess I'll do a creator shout out. I think that content creators in Web3 gaming are going to be super important. If not seeing the value now, then probably in the future. But a lot of content creators are building out loyalty rewards programs that are providing value back to their audiences. And I know Kagi and the Juice team did something really cool with a founder's launch and providing NFTs back to his audience for helping build out his entire ecosystem. So shout out to him and what they're doing. I think that creator NFTs, more so like loyalty rewards, are going to be like a really big wave in NFTs over the next probably year and a half.
Yeah, so I guess the group I want to shout out is Exterio. They're the exclusive Web3 partner of FunPlus. FunPlus is a very big, traditional mobile gaming developer publisher. So I'm really excited to see what kind of products that, what kind of games that they're really going to bring into this space now with this new partnership.
All right, perfect. I want to give a shout out to the Game 3 Awards. PokerStarter Gaming started that. I'm one of the judges as well, and we're trying to, with a lot of other bodies, try to create a decentralized body that will congratulate the best builders in the space and create some type of an annual awards, whatever. There's no financial models in it. It's all organic, and we're just trying. The voting. The nominees are already up. You can go check it out. Game 3 Awards. The votes, I think, start in the next few days. All right, thank you very much. We have 20 seconds on the clock, so we'll give you guys a bit of time to stretch. Thank you for my great panelists.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.